Hello everyone, back tuning into today's first video, doing GWV Sunday Round-Up for today's first video. So as always on a Sunday, we are having your eclectic mix of this and that, your Sunday afternoon using video, looking at things like solar activity, sea surface temperature anomalies, the AO, the NEO, and we'll of course include in this the weather for the next week to 10 days as well. Also CFS V2 for the next month, and looking out into February of CFS also. So lots to cram in, and hope you find it interesting. Sit back, have a cup of tea, and enjoy the GWV Sunday Roundup for your Sunday afternoon. Now, before I can do anything else, I'm going to say some thank you. So the first thing I'm going to do, say a big thank you to our latest PayPal donor. So I've had an anonymous donation to GWV. This person wants to stay anonymous, but they know who they are. I've emailed them and said thank you very much, and we'll be sort of announcing you in the video, but as an anonymous person, so you know who you are. Big thank you to you for your donation, and also had a donation through PayPal from Kevin Barber. So big thank you to Kevin for also becoming our latest PayPal donor. If you would like to become a PayPal donor for GWV, so all you need to do is come to the GWV.me PayPal page. I'm on that page right now. We link to it at all the pages at GWV's and in the description at YouTube. So you just come here and sign into your PayPal account. Most people have one of those these days, and you can pledge whatever amount of money as a one-off donation that you would like to GWV. You'll get a mention in the videos. If you want one, we'll say thank you very much. Otherwise, if you'd rather stay anonymous, then again, that's absolutely fine. Just let us know, leaving a little note with your donation. Big thank you to all of the donors for GWV's. Excuse me. We've also got Patreon. So if you'd like to become a patron for GWV, just go to the GWV's Patreon page and sign up for a Patreon account. And again, big thank you to all of the patrons for GWV. So again, a special thank you to our anonymous donor and also to Kevin Barber for your donations to GWV. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is say a big thank you to everybody, because we have passed a new milestone at GWV. So the YouTube channel now has over 3 million video views. So on the GWV's YouTube channel here, and that's the number, that's the all-important number that we have reached, over 3 million video views, a huge number since we started this YouTube channel, which was in 2014. We started the GWV's YouTube channel. So in around coming up for 5 years, we've managed to achieve over 3 million video views. Of course, there's also the Gavin Partridge channel that we started off at for a couple of years, from 2012 to 2014. So if we combine those, I suppose we'd probably be getting well over 3 million. But for the GWV's YouTube channel, the main channel, we have now gone over 3 million video views. So a big thank you to all of you. That's a big number, and I'm really blown away that we've managed to reach over 3 million video views for the YouTube channel. So whether you watch the videos at YouTube, whether you watch them on the embedded feed at GWV's website, or wherever you watch them, again, a huge thank you to all of you for helping us to achieve this amazing milestone in the history of GWV. It's over 3 million video views. We are closing in very rapidly also on 5,000 subscribers to the YouTube channel. So that's going to be the next milestone, and I don't think it'll be too long before we reach that one. I've got a couple of pictures to show you. So this was sent through to us by Satiris Lakis in Munich, and you can see very deep snow cover there. Many parts of Europe have been hit badly by excuse me, by snow over the past few days. So this is how things are looking in Munich. Snow laying very deep indeed, really wintry looking pictures over there in Munich, sent through by Satiris Lakis. So a big thank you to Satiris for sending those through. And then going further southwards into the Med, this is how things are looking in Sicily. This has been sent through by David Cook. So again, we see that really deep snow cover there. I think you can just about make out palm trees. So we've got palm trees in snow in Sicily. David says this isn't all that uncommon This town is quite high up, but anyway, the snow has really started to bite across many parts of Europe. That again is in Sicily, so again pretty deep snow, despite the fact that we've got palm trees over there in the background. That's a very nice looking picture of the snow laying pretty deep. So Europe has really been under the cosh over the past week with snow and cold weather, and it remains to be seen whether that snow is going to get to the UK. But I wouldn't be all that surprised around a week or two's time if we don't start getting some snow pictures coming in from people in the UK. If you would like to have your pictures featured in the videos, then there are various ways you can do it. You can share them on the GWV's comment box. You can also share them with GWV's social media accounts. So these pictures from David and Satirius are actually shared with us on Facebook. So we've got GWV's Facebook page. Also got a Gavin Partridge Twitter page, but it's for GWV, so on social media. And also, of course, you can email them to us at gawsworthies@gmail.com. And when we get the chance, we're always happy to feature your pictures in the videos. Big thank you to Satirius. Big thank you to David for sharing their pictures with us. Right, this is how things looking on the solar disk on our side of the disk today from solarham.net. We are spotless. There's no sunspots whatsoever on our side of the solar disk right now. So completely blank, completely spotless solar disk. This is the GWV Sunday Round-Up solar activity tracker, sent through to us by a good friend James Ackroyd. It's updated up to today, and we can see that again, very low levels of solar activity. So the red line here is our trend line, and also the green line. They're both our trend line, and the orange lines are depicting each individual day's sunspots. We can see that again we're at a really low level now with the trends. They're virtually on the bottom of the graph, and where the orange line is kind of like flatlining, that's each individual day that we're not having any sunspots. When you get fairly longish line, then you've got several days or even weeks without any sunspots. Back in the summer, we had a very long run without any sunspots through July, that very hot July. So we're still getting a few sunspots coming through on some days where the orange line is ticking up. But do bear in mind, this is a really, really low level of solar activity that we are seeing now. And it's in line with solar minimum. We are in the solar minimum of solar cycle number 24. We're going to be staying in solar minimum for at least the next year, probably the next 18 months or so. And of course, when you're at solar minimum, you've got weak levels of solar activity. This is associated with an increased chance of northern blocking. So northern blocking is a route to getting colder out of the Arctic and down into the mid-latitudes. So solar minimum winters and around periods of weak solar activity tends to be more associated with colder winters for the UK, for Europe anyway. I think it's there's less of a connection for other parts of the world, but certainly for the Atlantic, probably due to weakening of the jet stream coming across the Atlantic, around the North Atlantic, around the UK, around Northern Europe, you tend to get more blocking areas of high pressure setting up in these periods of weak solar activity. Doesn't guarantee anything though, so each individual winter will be unique unto itself, and just because you're at solar minimum doesn't mean you will get colder winters, but it does increase the chance. We can see that we continue for winter of 2018-2019 to be at a very low level of solar activity. Big thank you to James for sending through the solar activity tracker, and we'll be keeping you updated with this, of course, in the days and weeks ahead as we do the GWV Sunday Round-Up. Right, the shutdown continues in America. So normally at this point I would be showing you the sea surface temperature anomaly charts from NOAA, but if I scroll you down to this box just here for the 10th of January and click Full Global, we're going to be taken to a page not found. So things continue to be very, very slow over in America, particularly at NOAA. They are still functioning to some degree, still generating weather forecasts, but whether the forecasts are actually being paid, I don't know, probably not. But a lot of NOAA is, at the moment, unresponsive, not being updated, and so you've got to look somewhere else now for our sea surface temperature anomalies, at least until this shutdown ends. So we're going to go to tropicaltidbits.com. This is the sea surface temperature anomaly from tropicaltidbits.com for the 13th of January today. So we can see that this is how things are looking in the Pacific and the Atlantic. We've got our 3 areas of interest in particular. We've got the ENSO region just there, of course. We've got the Northern Pacific up here, and we've got the Atlantic over here. Let's deal with ENSO first. Well, now we've got nothing to compare this to, so I can't really say how this has changed over the past few weeks and months, unlike what we would have been able to do if NOAA was still functioning. We can see that we've got sort of a weakish El Nino signature there still. It's relatively warm on the Peruvian coast, but of course that's very shallow water. It's prone to temperature change in terms of the weather. The weather is influencing that in those shallow waters near Peru. But elsewhere, through the deeper waters of the Equatorial Pacific Ocean, yes, we are still seeing a very weak signature for El Nino, but it looks a bit patchy, really, and it is barely an El Nino, I think. Now, it barely reached El Nino status, and I think it's actually gone underneath what would be designated as an official El Nino now in terms of the temperature anomaly. There are a few little spots of blue even starting to appear here, mixed in with the yellow and orange colours. Yellow and orange colours, of course, are above average temperature, so the scale is on the side. So sort of a weakish El Nino signature still there, but it's fading away, and it never really came to much in the first place. In the Northern Pacific, it remains pretty warm, really, with sea surface temperature anomalies, particularly over towards Canada and America in that northeastern part of the Northern Pacific Ocean. That's been a regular feature, of course, for the past few years on and off. In the Atlantic, it looks like things are warming up to the south of Greenland. So we are beginning to warm the sea surface temperature anomalies up there, but down in the tropical Atlantic, we're actually relatively cool. So yes, we are beginning to warm things up to the south of Greenland. We've got a warmer area just there. It's a little bit cooler just here, but it's still not a tripod, because down in the tropics, we're still seeing cooler than average sea surface temperature anomalies down there. But it is interesting that things appear to be starting to warm up with those sea surface temperature anomalies to the south of Greenland. That might help to promote high pressure towards Greenland and within the northern latitudes. It might do as we get through into the latter stage of winter. But again, it's not a classic sort of tripod, warm, cold, warm pattern that we look for a true negative NAO type setup. But certainly it's a little bit different, because through the past few months it's been relatively cold with those sea surface temperature anomalies to the south of Greenland. Now they are looking just that little bit warmer. This is how excuse me, again, got that tickly cough back again from that virus I had before Christmas. So we shall persevere. This is how the sea surface temperature anomalies have changed over the past week. Again, going from tropical tidbits, you can see that actually over the past week, things have cooled down through the Equatorial Pacific Ocean, generally, particularly over here towards the Indonesian side. Things have also cooled down over the past week. Remember, this is the change that's happened from one week to another. So things have cooled down in the Northern Pacific as well, compared to a week ago. And things have warmed up to the south of Greenland a little bit as well. So that's how temperatures have changed in the Pacific and the Atlantic over the past week. This is how things are looking in terms of El Nino, with the El Nino 3.4 index from Tropical Tidbits. So the all-important number here is plus 0.5. If you're at or above that level, then you are at the level of El Nino. To get an El Nino designated, you have to be half a degree or more above average over 5 tri-monthly periods. So quite strict requirements to get El Nino designated, the all-important number being half a degree or more above average. So back in November, we actually went quite strong with the El Nino, very briefly. We went up to around 1.5 degrees above average there in the early part of November. But after that, a drop occurred through the early part of November back to half a degree above average. Then it took off again a little bit as we went into the beginning of December. So just going up to around 1 degree above average. But since then, the El Nino really has been struggling. So this is the current position just here. We're actually underneath that all-important half a degree or more above average. And generally we've been around or a little bit under that half a degree or more above average since kind of like going back to the middle part of December, although it did lift up a little bit just there. I think this is going to struggle to ever get designated, this El Nino. I'm not sure it's going to get to be required temperature anomaly over the 5 tri-monthly periods. Again, we can't say what is happening with these tri-monthly periods because it's not being updated at NOAA due to the shutdown. But when it does finally get updated, the seasons by seasons chart, now and we see how this is stacked up over 5 tri-month periods, I think we're going to probably fall short of ever getting this El Nino event designated. So it really has been a very, very weak El Nino indeed. So the Arctic Oscillation and North Atlantic Oscillation observed and forecast charts looking like this. The black line tells us where we've been with the Arctic Oscillation. The red line's at the end where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic Oscillation to go. Remember, it's just an index that's reflecting the state of the atmosphere. It's not driving anything. It just tells you what the atmosphere is doing. So we're currently we're currently negative with the Arctic Oscillation. The AO is currently in negative territory. That's where we are right now. Forecast to tick up a little bit, going close to neutral around the middle of January. But generally, it looks like we're keeping the AO in negative territory, and possibly sending it more negative, actually, into the second half of January. So it's the weather that's driving the index. So the reason the AO is trending negative is because it's going to be high pressure up close to the pole. So this is telling us that as we go into the second half of January, we're probably getting an increasing blocking signal, almost certainly due to that sudden stratospheric warming. This is how the NAO is looking. Again, the black line tells us where we've been with the NAO. The red line's at the end, where GFS ensembles are forecasting the NAO to go. And we're around neutral at the moment with the NAO. I'm going to stay on the positive side of neutral over the next few days. That's the middle part of January. Possibly just a few signs of going into more negative territory as we get later on into the second half of the month. Still, you wouldn't say that's trending into a negative NAO, but I think it is possibly hinting that the NAO at least is going back towards neutral anyway, as we go into the second half of January, and possibly going towards negative territory. But, of course, we're going to wait and see. It looks like the indexes are a little bit out of sync with one another, I have to say. The AO is a very strong signal to be negative through blocking areas of high pressure for the next couple of weeks. The NAO much less so. So we've got the indexes fighting against one another a little bit. And that tells us that the Atlantic setup is going to be fighting a bit with the Arctic. And really, if we want to get locked into proper sustained cold weather and blocking, we probably need to see both of the indexes going into sustained negativity. But we'll wait and see. It is a strong negative AO signature that we've got there with the Arctic Oscillation. We're just waiting to see whether the NAO starts to trend in a similar direction. I'm going to pause the video there, go and get yourself a little drink, and we'll be back in a moment to do some forecasting. So I'll see you very, very shortly. Alright, we're back and we're ready to resume with the GWV Sunday Round-Up. So we're going to do some forecasting. Now we're going to start off with the GFS ensembles. I'm going to have a look at the ensemble today for Loughborough. So someone's asked me to have a look at the GFS ensembles for Loughborough. So red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Loughborough. You can see that it's downhill all the way really from now. It's still a little bit above average today with the upper air temperatures, but they are going to be declining over the next few days. So we're going down towards the 30-year average through the next sort of 3-4 days. But as we get through to the end of the week and next weekend, going colder than average. That's the 15th of January just there. That's the 19th of January. And it's at this point that it looks like we're going quite a bit underneath the 30-year temperature average. So the trend is still there to become colder as we go into the second half of January. It's turning colder. And we do have one or two ensemble members that are actually going towards freezer type cold. So to go into the freezer, we're going to have to go down to be -10 or -15 at 850 HPA. I've got a few ensemble members getting to that sort of level. They'd be producing ice days type cold, so days that are staying below freezing all day. And they're really cold ensemble members, but they are outliers. So most of the ensemble members are still between -5 and -10 at 850 HPA in that kind of level. So that's sort of cold conditions. It's cold enough for snow. It looks like there's going to be some precipitation around as well. Fairly dry for the next few days, but as you get through to the end of the coming week, into next weekend and the following week, you have got precipitation spikes, and with the temperature being cold, there will be the potential for some sleet and snow to be coming in with that. So, again, we are trending colder and more unsettled as we're going into the second half of January. Temperature anomalies from the 13th to 21st of January are still holding up around or a little bit above average. Expect those to trend colder over the next few days. Precipitation anomalies a little bit drier than average, so still mild and dry just, but expect those to trend colder and more unsettled in the days ahead. This is the 6 o'clock run of the GFS. I'm going to scroll you back, so we'll go back through the chart. Sorry about that. That doesn't normally happen. So we go back to there, and that's how things are looking on Wednesday, when we've got a cold front moving in across the country. It's going to be bringing some rain, southwards and eastwards across the UK, and then turning the wind into a colder northerly direction. Winds into the north into the second half of the week, and then low pressure moving in from the Atlantic by Friday into that cold air. Now, this low pressure is causing all sorts of problems within the model output. So just going to wait and see how this low pressure interacts with that colder air that's sitting across the country. But it does look as though that low pressure will be bringing cloud and rain, and possibly on the northern edge some snow Friday to Saturday. That low pressure clears out of Wales Saturday, turning wind back into a colder north or northeasterly again. As we go through into Sunday, a week away, we've got high pressure out to our west, and we're bringing down this pretty chilly northwesterly wind. Through to next week, so this is Monday 21st of January, low pressure again is sinking down across the country, cold northerly winds following. So again, there could be a snow potential in with that. Will depend on the exact parameters with the atmosphere, but as this low pressure sinks down over the UK, there could definitely be some snow potential with that. That's day 10 with the GFS operational run, and we've got these cold northeasterly winds extending in across the country. They'll be bringing snow showers with them. We build high pressure up over Scandinavia and turn the winds into the east on Thursday the 24th of January, just a little bit beyond day 10, and then we go into an easterly outbreak as we go towards the closing days of the month. High pressure really blocking through to the end of the month. That's how the very latest GFS 6 o'clock run is looking at 384 hours away, which is Tuesday 29th of January. Again, we're having to go at building this high pressure up over Scandinavia, trying to get wind in from the east once again. So there is cold weather contained within that GFS run. There would be potential for some snow at times, I think. And again, just a case of waiting to see exactly how this plays out. But I think there is wintry potential here over the next few weeks. I wouldn't be at all surprised if snow watch is appearing quite shortly. This is the ECMWF, and again we've got this cold front moving down across the country. Wednesday bring a band of rain, winds turn into the north behind it on Thursday 17th. Then this low pressure tries to come in, but it's blocked actually, this low pressure. It never really makes it in across the country all that well. We keep cold air sitting across the country. That's very cold air, and there'll be a lot of frosting with that as well under that little ridge of high pressure, and daytime temperatures would really be struggling to say the least. We're going up towards day 10. Look at that. We stay cold up to day 10 with the ECM. That's a very cold and wintry looking update. So again, we've got the wind coming in from an east or southeast direction. Low pressure being blocked out in the Atlantic. As these low pressures come up against that cold air, could well be turning to snow. So the ECM was a particularly cold and wintry run this morning. That's sort of going close to ice days type level cold, with days staying below freezing all day and a risk of some snow in places. The GM, someone's asking me why we haven't seen the GM for a little while. It's just purely due to time constraints. We've also been including the parallel GFS run, of course. I've left the parallel off today. But I haven't got time to show you all of my output. If I could, I would sit here for a couple of hours and go through all of the data that I can show you. But I appreciate people have got busy lives, haven't got time to sit for a couple of hours and watch me talking about all of the model output. So you have to draw the line somewhere. And some things have to be taken out and can't be included. The GM has suffered for that a little bit over the past week or two, or a couple of months of been using the parallel GFS run. But I've included the Canadian, the GM today, so that's how things are looking on Thursday. Turning winds into the north, cold northerly winds extending down across the country. It's low pressure trying to move into that cold air, but it's struggling. And again, this could be some sort of snow event happening here with this low pressure on Saturday, next Saturday. That low pressure slides away to our south. We turn wind into the east as we go through to Sunday the 20th. Cold easterly winds probably feeding snow showers in from the east. And then as we go through into the second half of next week, that's how we're looking. And we've got these areas of low pressure sitting out to the west of the country. And they'll be bringing, or trying to bring milder air in off the Atlantic, but they're struggling against this block of high pressure that we've got sitting up to the northeastern eastern part of the country. So again, it's a real struggle to move that low pressure in against that cold air. And again, there could be some sort of snow event taking place in the west. All of this looks a little bit marginal, but sometimes marginal snow events can be the heaviest snow events in some ways, because there's a lot of energy within the atmosphere. So again, I reckon we'll be getting snow watch going in the next few days. I'm sure there's going to be some snow opportunities cropping up with these areas of low pressure trying to come in against all of this cold air that's sitting over to the north and the east of the UK. Finally, just have a look at CFS-V2 for the next month. So these are the 500 millibar height anomalies. So break it down into week periods. The first week period will take us from the 13th through to the 19th of January, with below average heights sitting to the east of the country, the northeast of the country. Trough of low pressure is up there. Above average heights out in the middle of the Atlantic and trying to extend up towards Greenland. So this is bringing the wind in like that. Still a bit of an Atlantic influence, but it looks like it's already beginning to suggest colder conditions in the week ahead. And then this intensifies as we go through into week 2. This is the 20th to the 26th of January. With a ridge in the middle of the Atlantic and the below average heights, the trough, if you like, is extending back into central western parts of Europe. This could well be pulling wind in from the north or northeasterly direction. That looks cold and wintry in week 2 with snow potential. Week 3 also looking cold and wintry. It's been a consistent signal with CFS-V2 for the whole of the past week. This taking us from the 27th of January to the 2nd of February. The ridge is extending through the North Atlantic. It's going up to Greenland. It does extend back to genuine northern blocking as well. Below average heights to the south of the UK. So again, cold east, northeasterly winds being fed in to the UK. That looks particularly cold and wintry there. And it just goes on into week 4, which is the 3rd to the 9th of February. A prolonged spell of cold or very cold weather, blocking high pressure through the North Atlantic going up towards Greenland. Then we've got the below average heights over and to the south of the UK still. And we're still pulling in the wind from the north or northeast direction. In the southeast of Europe, becoming much milder. A ridge is building down there, and that will be bringing up mild air, or perhaps even quite warm air, out of North Africa into the Balkans, into Greece, Turkey, Black Sea, those sort of areas. But for us, we remain, well, it looks like we remain pretty much locked into very cold conditions. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead, milder than average. From the 13th to the 19th of January, above average temperature anomalies continue just, but make the most of those. You enjoy milder than average temperatures, because as you go through to week 2, which is the 20th to 26th of January, it goes colder than average. Most parts of Europe also going colder than average, or central northern Europe anyway, going colder than average in week 2. Week 3, again, significantly colder than average temperature anomalies for the UK. Very cold over in eastern parts of America as well. So it looks like we're going to have both sides of the Atlantic into really cold conditions. That presumably is through a blocking area of high pressure around Greenland, forcing Arctic air out of the pole into both North America and into northern Europe as well. Notice many central parts of Europe are colder than average in week 3. And then it goes on into week 4, another colder than average week from the 3rd to the 9th of February. Temperatures are below average, talking around 2 degrees, something like that, below average. So certainly cold enough for snow, and cold and average on the east side of America, cold and average many central parts of Europe as well. Much milder than average, warmer than average even for southeastern parts of Europe. You'll notice as the northwest goes cold, the southeast of Europe goes milder. Precipitation anomalies in the week ahead, the 13th to 19th of January, drier than average for the UK. Then go through to week 2. And we're close to average. It's driving average to the north and west, a little bit wetter than average to our south. Of course, it's going colder. That precipitation could be snow. We go through to week 3, to the 27th of January to 2nd of February. Dry of an average to the north and west again. Wetter than average down to the south and southwest of the country. And then we finish up in week 4, which is the 3rd to the 9th of February. And still the idea continues. So you can see where the blocking is. It's all out here in the North Atlantic and extending up towards Greenland. Wetter than average to our south, or above average precipitation. Again, indicating that potentially the driest conditions through late January, early February are likely to be in the north. Wettest conditions are likely to be in the south. And that could be snow. A lot of that could be snow. So it could well be that southern parts of the country finish up with more snow than northern areas. And that's due primarily to the blocking that's sitting just to the north and the west of the country. I have to say, this is looking like a prolonged cold spell that we've got setting up here. And the CFS has been really, really consistent about this. Let's just finish off with February. So this is how the CFS 700 millibar height anomaly is looking for February, and it looks extremely blocked. Look at all this northern blocking with these red colours it's got to the north between Greenland and Scandinavia. We've got this trough of low pressure sitting to the south of the country. So exactly in line with what the CFS weekly forecast is showing for the end of January, start of February. That's feeding in these very cold east or northeasterly winds. That's locked in cold and blocked conditions. That's the temperature anomaly for February at the moment from the CFS V2. A cold of an average month. You don't see this very often. Cold of an average month being forecast for much of central northern Europe. The UK is included in that as well. Notice a mild of an average month is being forecast down in the southeastern part of Europe, so it's milder from the Balkans down towards the Black Sea, Greece, Turkey. Those areas forecast to be mild on average, but the north, cold on average, and particularly cold across Scandinavia. I know you have people watching in Scandinavia, and hello to those people watching over in Scandinavia. Looks like you could be going into the freezer very, very shortly, and a cold of an average month being forecast for the UK and for Ireland in February. Precipitation finally looks like this. You can see where the blocking is quite clearly. Much drier than average February over Scandinavia and northern Europe. So obviously we've got high pressure sitting up here. It's also much drier than average across Iceland, so we've got high pressure sitting up there. It's drier than average towards Greenland, so high pressure sitting up there. Scotland also coming out drier than average, influenced by that big ridge of high pressure. So essentially there's one huge ridge sitting from there through there, and it extends down towards the north of Scotland and then back up towards Scandinavia. So all of this area is likely to be dominated by high pressure. That's the reason it's dry to the north, but it's also the reason that it's cold, of course. Down across southern Europe, much wetter than average down there. France, Spain, Portugal, through the Med, Italy, all those areas looking wetter than average. This is indicative of low pressure and the jet stream coming in from off the Atlantic. So low pressure going down through here, high pressure is up here, and of course that leaves us pulling in either very cold northeasterly winds or potentially very cold easterly winds. Either way, a cold and wintry February on the way if CFS is right. And this is all starting, it begins in the next few days, and then it just gets colder and colder, and the blocking pattern gets more extreme if it all plans out as we are expecting it to, and that is a big if, of course. Right, so that's the GWV Sunday Round-Up done and dusty. Sorry I had to stop the video and go get a drink of water. Still got that tickle, as I say, in the throat, so it's just hanging around, this annoying bug that I had before Christmas. Just doesn't want to go. But quite a few people in the area where I'm living actually are getting pneumonia out of it, so I've not done too badly at all compared to how some people are with this bug. So hopefully it'll go soon. So that's the GWV Sunday Roundup. Thanks very much for watching on your Sunday afternoon. We'll be back tonight with an ensembles watch. We're going to go through all members of the GFS ensembles. We'll be looking for northern blocking. We'll be looking for hints of going into this very extended spell of cold weather that the CFS is indicating here. Will we have signs within the GFS ensembles? You'll find out tonight. We know certainly on that ensemble graph for Loughborough, but a few of those ensemble members are dipping into the freezer. So I think Ensembles Watch could be quite interesting tonight. Come back for that sometime between around 7 or 8 o'clock. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.